I know, you see, somehow the world will change for me and be so wonderful. Did you get that reference?
Don't tell me. Big Time Rush.
No. So
Oh,
you said before, because the people won't know because they just heard me singing that. You said in 3, 2, 1, and then you pointed, and then you started recording. And on iCarly, they do that, and then it cuts to the theme song.
okay. Because they film.
They film. Freddie films.
Welcome back to the Mr. Movies
Welcome
podcast.
back, you guys.
We are talking about what we watched in July of 2020.
July.
What a month it was.
It was a month.
2020 has turned out to be an amazing year. I'm having a
What a
great
great year for
time,
all of us. A
right?
prosperous time.
I feel like we're
Uh,
all succeeding.
we all agree on everything from like
Right.
small issues to politics. Like we all
Oh
just
yeah.
agree. We
Hmm.
all hug each
What
other.
a
It's been a great
tremendous
year.
year. Hmm.
Everyone's been super healthy. No
Absolutely.
sicknesses.
I'm hard pressed to think of one bad thing,
I
honestly.
can't either. I mean, what?
I can't do this anymore, man.
In reality, I want to die.
All the
Um,
time.
every day I question my existence.
But there's been one thing that's been keeping us going.
The Mr. Movies podcast.
Movies. Oh, yeah. The
Oh,
podcast.
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, Frank, why don't you start us off? What did you watch in
What did
July?
I watch? The question. I watched a movie. I'll do
No.
two, so that way we'll
Okay.
be nearly tied up.
Good.
Um, I watched a Denzel Washington film with Viola Davis called Fences.
Ooh,
Have you seen it or heard of
I
it?
have.
You've seen it?
I have seen it.
So it's based off a play for those of you that don't know. This movie was really good. Like I really enjoyed it. I'm usually
That's an
like
intense one.
I get scared when like they take a play and adapt it because then you end up with like 12 Angry Men, which I know is a great movie, but in reality it's just dudes at a table for like,
For like
you
an
know.
hour, yeah.
So I get nervous, but this movie had a lot of life to it. I really like the character. It's a character piece for sure.
For sure.
Um
Oh, and you would not hire those two if it weren't like character driven.
No, and like, oh my God, Viola Davis, there's like a scene where she's like yelling and she's like crying. She's got boogers coming out of her nose. And like it's so it feels so raw and real that I was like, dang, like
She's
I
so
just
cool. I
she's
love her.
great. She's gonna be in the Suicide Squad.
Uh-huh.
Do you like how I
I wouldn't
turned that?
compare those two, but yeah.
Basically the same movie. No. Um
Woo.
ugh. I really liked this movie. I liked all the characters. I thought Denzel Washington gave the performance of his lifetime. And uh did he was nominated for an Oscar for this, right? I want to say.
I wouldn't be surprised with
Yeah.
some.
I know it was nominated for like a best adaptation, but I really enjoyed this movie and
As you
I'd
should.
highly highly recommend.
Yeah, for
Um
sure.
I watched a small independent film
Wow, indie movie.
on the old Hulu.
And what was it?
It was called Villains. I really enjoyed it. It was a very I don't even know how to describe it. It's very like indie filmmaker, very
Mhm.
low budget. Like the whole thing, most of it takes place in a house. Mom, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, you just interrupted us. Okay, we're taping. This is live.
Hi.
Duncan says hello. Duncan says hello. We were just kidding. We are recording, but it's okay. Don't worry. Um, what was I talking about?
Villains.
Villains. Um, I was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I liked that. Are you okay? You look like you're gonna pass out laughing. Just take a minute.
Sorry, it's just really funny. Continue. I'll be fine.
Um, there's one scene that was very disturbing with a piercing that I will never forget as long as I want to throw up every time I
Oh,
think of it.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, but it's like these it's basically this couple and they break into the house of this. They're like robbers, but they break into this house of this other couple, but they're just like messed up people who
Oh
like
man.
they have like a child locked in their basement and stuff.
Whew.
So like they kidnap them and like they have to try to escape the house. And like Kira Sedgwick is in this, and she's like a freak in this movie. But I enjoyed every second she was on screen.
Hmm.
And the guy that played Pennywise the clown in the new It movie, what's his name? Skarsgård, Bill
Bill,
Bill
I think.
Skarsgård. Yeah, he's
Hmm.
great in this movie. He's just a fun time. I keep thinking of that piercing scene, and I want to throw up. So I'm going to stop talking about this movie. Duncan, what did you watch?
I sorry, there's a plane going overhead. I
Wow.
watched the entirety of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ooh. Let's
I
Philly DeFranco and jump right into this.
I watched this with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
The two of us, I think, watched the entire 3 seasons in maybe a week. Like
Nice.
we loved this show, and this show was, I think it came out in like 2008, so it's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a sequel show and everything. Like it's very like
Have you watched Korra yet?
I am halfway through Korra right
I
now.
want to watch it. I remember, so my dad is like a big soccer like person.
Yeah.
So every 4 years when the World Cup was on, we'd get cable for it just for that, and we'd get rid of it immediately. So I remember when we got it, one of the years it was like the premiere year of Legend of Korra. So I got to watch like half the first season and got really invested, and then we got rid of cable, so I never knew how it ended.
Oh,
Or I can't. I'm in the
that's a
middle of a show right now,
shame.
but as soon as I'm done, I'm hopping on it.
Season 1 of Korra is good, but
I'm
have
excited.
you seen Airbender?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Whew, I've got like that show, like
Is deep.
legitimately genius.
My boy worked on it. Of course it is.
Yeah, you got
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni, and you can like see the influence
Uh-huh.
that like it had on. Like, oh my god, that show! I fell in love with all the characters. It tackles such heavy
Hmm.
concepts through the lens of like these 10-year-olds. Like, and it's for kids. You have like fart
Yeah.
jokes and stuff, but it's talking about like genocide and like war
Mhm.
crimes and like spirituality. Like the themes and topics that show took on, like I'm struggling to think of any other show that tackles that much and does it that well.
Yeah.
And I think Toph is the best character I've ever
Toph is
seen,
phenomenal.
like ever. Like I love the idea of this 12-year-old blind girl having the power
Yeah.
to like move the tectonic plates.
I
Like,
loved my favorite scene from the show, and like whenever I think of the show, I think of this scene is when they filmed it so like from Toph's quote point of view, where it's like all like sonic sort of, and then like
right.
someone stops and you hear the waves and you feel it like absorb into her feet. Like I was like, that was. Do you know what
It's
you know what I'm talking
so,
about?
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like,
So many great episodes, even like the quote unquote filler episodes where like they're great, like the Tales of Bossing Say episode where it's like
right.
gives like each character, like I loved that episode.
Like even you can tell that like even the filler episodes, like you said, just have so much heart and
The
soul
finales,
put
like
into it.
for a kid show, usually finales are like they don't feel like finales, but the finales feel like finales.
Oh
Season
my
2 finale is like it's insane.
it is so
It's
crazy.
so
Like
good. When
I
can we spoil it
legitimately,
or no? I feel like everyone
it's been
who's
out for like
it's
decades.
been out. Like when Aang, I remember watching. So the way I got into the series was when the Shyamalan movie came out, and
Oh,
I was like little, so I was like into it. I'm like, what a neat concept. So then I went
right.
on Nickelodeon, and I watched I went to the library actually, and they had them all, so I like took them all out,
Aw.
and I like binged it. Like I was like going nuts for it. And I just remember it feeling like insane. And like,
Oh,
it's a show like my parents could come into the room and like, it wasn't like, Thomas the Tank Engine where like, they could get something from it. So it
uh-huh.
was neat. And like, I remember my family was into it too. Like we all were like, it's such a good show. I can't wait. I need to
Yeah.
rewatch it, but
Oh man,
it's
I
so good.
I can't believe I missed out on it all these years.
Azula, I remember was like one of my. I remember there's
Holy
a scene where she's like
shit.
chained up. They have her chained up. She's going nuts and she starts like
Oh, and she's
breathing fire
going
and stuff.
insane.
And it's like
Yeah.
blue fire. I'm like, that's crazy.
Man, I
They
I
really have something to like. That could be a Star Wars level franchise if they wanted to. Like
Yeah,
it could be
absolutely.
easily.
Absolutely. And part of me is glad that it's like contained and small,
Yeah.
but
We're getting the
like,
live action version.
oh man, that's a mess. Did you hear
Controversial.
about all that?
I heard the original creators left.
They did. Do you know why?
Creative differences.
Netflix wanted to make it like Riverdale. They wanted all the
I
characters
didn't
to
hear
be like,
that.
they wanted to age up all the characters and they wanted more blood, sex, and violence.
I'm down for more violence. I think you can make it more adult because the people that grew up with it are now
Sure, but I don't want
older.
to see like a love triangle,
Yeah,
like in
I don't know about I don't
contemporary music. And like, you know, like,
yeah, like you do, that doesn't need there doesn't need to be nudity in it.
and also the creators were like, okay, so we're not going to cast any white people because this show is like in an Asia inspired environment.
Mhm.
And Netflix was like, nah, we're going to cast white people. So it's the Shyamalan movie all over again.
Yeah. I feel bad because I feel like Shyamalan's name gets dragged to the dirt. There was a lot of production issues that
Okay.
was not his fault.
I
There's a
don't
lot
want
of
to talk
studio.
about it very much because I'm going to talk about that movie when we talk about August.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Oh, I'll rewatch it. I'll rewatch it so that way we can book because I haven't seen it in a long time. I own it. I was obsessed with it. I don't remember it.
All right. It's really, really, really bad. Like,
Yeah.
here's what I would do if I were you. I would watch season 1 of Avatar and
Mhm.
then watch the movie
Okay.
because that's basically what we did, and it was just, you can tell he had a vision. But okay, here's my thing. I don't want to talk about it, but we're here. So here's my thing. I feel like you can watch something and take different things out of it from different
Mhm.
people. Like if you and I watch the same movie, I might take away a different message than you. I think Shyamalan watched Avatar and took something out of it that is not the popular opinion.
Yeah.
But because he's the legendary director, he got to make his adaptation. And I think a lot of people were just like, that's not what it's about. And then
Well, I know there was issues with that movie where like I don't think that's his script. I really don't think that's his script. I think
maybe
he had
not.
a script and then Nickelodeon was like you made him cram in. I want to say 100. I'm not 100%. I haven't looked at I remember I used to be like look into this movie like a lot because I was really fascinated with it. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure they forced him to do the Zuko Blue Spirit thing. Like didn't want. He said there's no time for it in like
Right.
a
And
two-hour movie,
it
and it's
definitely
not
rushed.
super important. And they like made him do it, and it's a half-assed version of it. Because if you that
Well,
is an
yeah.
important part of the story, but he was like, I can tell Zuko's story without that. And didn't they show the Fire Lord at the end of the that movie?
They showed him throughout the whole movie.
They
He's
showed him
just
throughout.
he's just there.
Oh no!
And he's just like some Indian dude. Everyone in the Fire Nation is
Isn't Dev
Indian.
Patel Zuko?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like racially insensitive, but like I just think it's really kind of like, why would you make the Fire Nation all Indian? Like I know
One
you're trying to
race.
separate, but and then you made the Inuit the people up in the North Pole all white.
Okay, the way the powers work in the show, it's not a race thing. Like people of different
Yeah.
nationalities get like the powers. You're like, so
And
I never really understood that either. Yeah.
Katara and Sokka are the most cornbread white people I've ever seen. But in the background
Have
you
they
see
done
like
anything? I don't know that the actors. I don't want to crap on them, but have they done anything since?
the only actress in that whole movie who I think did a good job was the actress who played Yue, who is the girl with the white hair that turns into the
Yeah,
moon.
no, I remember liking her the most in the movie.
And she voices a
You, you,
character
you
in Legend
you
of
don't
Korra.
like the guy who played Ong?
You have Aang, you have Sokka, you have Avatar. Like everything is mispronounced.
Avatar.
Like
Yeah, I
it's
never
so
understood
intentional.
that. That even from a
Well,
young age, I was like, that's kind of where they did that.
yeah, like I don't know if he was trying to like have his own brand to it. Oh, and that movie is called Book One. Like he wanted to make three.
No, they were. That was the plan.
And it ended with like Azula and like the Fire Lord being like, Azula, go get them.
Yeah,
And that's it.
you're right. It did end with Azula. I remember being so pumped for that.
Anyway.
I remember loving that movie when I was like a little kid, and then like being like, "When's the next one coming out? I'm still waiting."
Oh, geez, I'm
It's like
sorry.
5 years later, and I'm like, "Oh no!" Then you learn what happened.
But that show, the original show, is a masterpiece. I'm gonna watch it like every year for the rest of my life. I
Like,
will I
even
will
if
never stop.
Netflix does this adaptation, Riverdale adaptation, like I'm the kind of person where I won't really complain about, like I'll be upset, but like I don't get
Yeah.
butthurt about it because I'm like, you still have the original. Like that's not going away.
True. You will always have the original, but I think I just want like season 4. I want the
Hmm.
original creators to just animate a season 4 because they had plans for a season 4.
They did.
Yeah, and then Nickelodeon was like, "Oh, wrap it up." So they finished it with
I
3.
don't know that
Book 4 was going to be about Zuko trying to find his mom, and they had to use Azula to help find the mom, and like it would have tied up like a whole bunch of loose ends. I think they finished
is
it.
Nickel. You know what Netflix should do? Because I don't think you should make. Personally, don't make season 4. That's my thing. Like
Mhm.
the 3 seasons are so perfect. But I know Netflix has a deal with Nickelodeon. I'd be okay if they did like an El Camino, what they did with that. If they wanted to do like a two
Okay,
hour
like a
movie,
2 hour, yeah, yeah,
I'd be down
absolutely.
for that.
Like take different characters and give them
Hmm.
like their own animated. Absolutely, that's a really good idea.
And then I think you make it Zuko centric.
You could definitely have a Zuko
You could
episode.
do
Yeah,
like flashbacks, bring back Mark Hamill as the Fire Lord, please. I love Mark Hamill.
he did a
And
good
like,
job.
oh,
This
he's
guy
great.
was in like 2 episodes, and he did a fantastic
Yeah,
job.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh
give
man,
like, oh, that show was ahead of its time.
it really, really was.
It was so ahead of its time. That's
I'm glad.
crazy.
I'm glad it's getting the appreciation now.
Yeah, I can't wait to hop onto Korra because I remember the villain Amon. Was that
Oh,
his name?
Korra,
I
they have
loved him.
their villains are like leagues above. They have a not to spoil anything, but they have a different villain every season,
Mhm.
and they're like better than any villains I've ever seen. Like the
I'm
Legend of
excited.
Korra exceeds. I'm only halfway through the show, and the villains are
I
already.
remember Amon being like the big selling point for me.
Amon is good.
Who voices Amon?
I don't know. I'd have to IMDb the show.
I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but I don't want to say. But if it is, he's one of my favorites, and I love him. And Riverdale should have treated him better when they had him on, but then threw him out the window after 2 episodes for no reason.
Wow, you really do know who it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Sam Witwer who voiced Darth Maul.
Oh,
And yeah,
hmm.
he's great. Oh my God, that man
I've
can
enjoyed his
take like a
stuff.
mediocre script and elevate it just through his voice.
We've talked about Avatar for way too long.
It's okay. I was down. I watched something really cool on Disney Plus.
What'd you
So
watch?
they did a docu series on the behind the scenes making of Frozen 2. It's called Into the Unknown, the making of Frozen 2. And I know I talked about Frozen 2. I wasn't the biggest fan of Frozen 2.
Hmm.
And I had some theories about this movie. And having had watched this series, I think some of those theories had
Some merit.
some merit. This movie was rushed. Have you seen
Okay,
Frozen 2?
I have not.
I'm gonna have to slightly spoil it.
Go for it.
So throughout Frozen 2, one of the I'm not gonna major, but it's like a very slight. One of the plot points is that there's this voice that Elsa's hearing,
Yeah.
and this is like the plot of the movie, and she has to like find the voice and discover what the voice is. So do you remember that first teaser trailer came out that was like badass, and it was her on the ocean and her running up, and it was just all music and it was just building,
I do
and
remember
everyone
that.
was like, "Yo, this movie's gonna be dark." That trailer was released 8 months before the movie came out, and at that point, they had no idea who the voice was that Elsa was hearing.
Ooh, they didn't know?
They knew the voice was there, like the voice is in the movie. They did not know what, like, so in the end, you find out who the voice is, but they didn't know 8 months before this movie comes out, Duncan.
That's pretty
This movie
soon.
was rushed.
Okay.
And like the song Into the Unknown, have you heard it? It's been everywhere basically.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, like that song is basically about who the voice is and like that. So they had this song written and like it was a messy production. Disney did it like there's a line where one of the producers is like Disney has never missed a release date, and Frozen 2 sure as heck ain't gonna be the first one. And to me, that was like the theme of the documentary was like
Oh no.
this deadline. And like I feel bad because the directors were so passionate about it and they believed in the story. They just didn't have the time to do it. And I recommend this because even though it's they definitely edit out like there's a scene where they go into a production meeting and then they're like, okay, we can't have cameras in here, and like you could tell they cut it because there's probably gonna be yelling like and
Oh
swearing
man.
and a lot that they did not want on the record.
Yeah.
um but I'd highly recommend this even if you haven't seen Frozen 2 because it gives such a great insight to the world of animation. Like I didn't realize animators work on the film for like 2 years and they only have like 40 seconds to a minute and 20 seconds of their stuff in the movie. Like they work on one
Yeah.
inch for 2 years. And like there's a scene where they do screenings of the movies for audiences
Right.
and like they have to take out what works. So then like they have to go up to these people who have been working on their clips for 2 years and be like, you got cut out of the movie, start working on this scene now. And those people are like, there's a scene with one guy and he shows his clip and he goes, it's 2 years of my life. I'm about to throw it out. And I'm like it's heartbreaking, but it's a really well made series. Like I highly recommend it. So I think how many do you have left on your list?
I've only talked about one thing, so I have 6 things left.
So I should talk about one more thing. I watched a Ben Affleck movie
Hmm.
on Netflix called The Town. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a bank heist movie.
Is that the one with the nun masks?
It's the one with the nun mask. You've seen the
Okay.
preview.
I have seen the
It's
preview.
really good.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I love heist movies. I love heist movies. I don't know. There's
Uh-huh.
something about a group of people getting together to do something horrendous for a selfish cause or a good cause that I'm always on the edge of my seats. Like there's a lot of bad heist movies, but the good ones are great. I have another one here. Actually, I'll talk about it next. So we go back to back. Um, I thought it was great. Ben Affleck gives a phenomenal performance. I believe it's directed by him, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
You recommend
Um,
it?
I recommend it. All right, let me talk about one more. I'm sorry. I know I'm doing 3 in a row, but it's also a heist movie. And it's an A24 film called Good
Ooh.
Time.
Hmm.
Have you heard of this movie?
I don't think I have.
It's with it stars Rob the Bat Pattinson, and it's a heist movie. He does a bank. So he has a brother with special needs, and he kind of drags this brother into doing
Wait a
crime.
minute. I have seen this movie.
You have seen it?
Yes, I have.
So yeah, so he drags his brother into doing a crime with him, and his brother gets arrested basically. So he has to try to break his brother out of jail, and it's crazy. This movie
Yeah.
is crazy. Did you like it?
I remember just like being so like I remember being so behind on everything that was happening. I was like,
Yeah,
what?
it's a fast movie where like if you blink, you'll miss stuff. It's like, oh, it's smart. It's a very smart movie. I need a
Yeah.
sip of water.
I just remember it being like I was on psychedelics the whole time. Like it was
Mhm.
fast, it was crazy. Whoa, what a
I'll
film.
say my only complaint with this movie is sometimes I feel like it went out of its way to be artsy, and sometimes it took me out. Like there's a scene where they're in a room, and then Rob the Bat Pattinson turns on a TV, um, and then like all of a sudden the lighting is blue now, and it's like it's the static from the TV, and I'm just like, you're trying a little too hard. I mean, it's the Sadfie brothers. They like that. Have you seen Uncut Gems?
Not yet.
Okay, yeah, you should watch Uncut Gems. It's like a better. You could tell like it's a better version of
Hmm.
Good Time, I'd say. But Good Time was overall a good time.
I had a feeling you were gonna close it out with that. So much like you, I went on Disney Plus and I watched a behind the scenes documentary, but this was on The Mandalorian.
Yes. Did I talk about this?
I don't
I
know.
think I talked about this on the last month.
Maybe very briefly.
Yeah.
Um,
This was inspiring for me. Like I was like,
yeah. So I enjoyed The Mandalorian. I saw this documentary. I was like, sure, I'd like to know how they made it. I was not expecting the technology to be so innovative. Like
mhm,
they built the floor of the set and then they just built like a
the video
wall of
wall.
screens around it. And
I loved
it's
this
like a green
documentary.
screen but in the moment.
Hmm.
So the background changes like where you have the camera.
Yeah.
That that's so amazing to me. Like
I thought it was I loved this
the fact
documentary.
that you can stand on this little rocky platform and then the background turns the like it like it just puts you in an entirely different set. Like
Like
it
I
was
remember watching The Mandalorian specifically, I think it's episode 5 where he goes to Tatooine and like seeing the cantina and like all the outdoor stuff being identical, and I was like, that must have been expensive. Like George Lucas built that in a desert. Like there's no way. I know this is like the most expensive TV show of all time, but there's no way they did that.
yeah.
Like that's just not practical for an episode. Um, and then seeing like it's all video wall. I'm like, that's crazy to me. This was inspiring. I mean, I have a man crush on Dave Filoni. I don't think it's a
That's
secret
fair.
at this
That's
point.
fair.
Like he's just one of my biggest inspirations, and seeing
He's done
him
good work.
talk about Star Wars, like he gets it on a whole new level.
It's
And
really clear that he's like the next George
he
Lucas.
is the George Lucas for Lucasfilm right now, I think.
Yeah. I will say I remember I think it was at the end of The Mandalorian, like after they've beat the villain and it's the Mandalorian talking with uh the Cara
Cara
Dune
Dune,
and Carl
Carl
Weathers.
Weathers.
I do remember that it looked really fake right there because the
Mm,
floor they were on was really flat, and I saw that and I was like, "Is that a set? Is that not a set?" Because it looks like they're on solid ground and the background looks kind of
mhm.
weird, and so that stuck with me because I was like, that one moment stuck out, not in like a good or bad way, but
Yeah,
that's what made me look at the documentary because I was like, how did they actually make this? And having it all explained to me was like mind
yeah.
blowing.
I love too, like the last episode was kind of like a fun episode where they talked about like the deep cuts that they put in there.
Right.
And like I was laughing when they talked about the ice cream machine thing because I actually saw it when we went to Star Wars Celebration. I didn't know about that. I actually saw someone holding one. I was like, that's kind of weird. Like I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a comic book because that's like the only thing Star Wars I'm not into. I was like, whatever. I didn't think 2 seconds of it. And then the second John Favreau started talking about it, I was like, I know that.
We saw that. Yeah. But yeah, it was a fun behind the scenes documentary. I recommend it to anyone who's like
Yeah.
looking or is
I will
interested,
say
like high
Disney
budget.
Plus's behind the scenes documentaries, pretty good, pretty insightful stuff.
Sometimes it feels like advertising, but for the most part, it's very honest and very
Yeah,
like,
no, I thought it was honest.
yeah,
Is it my turn?
it sure is.
Oh Lord.
What do you got for us?
I watched a I'll talk about that lawyer show I'd been watching, Burden of Truth.
That's right. Yeah.
So season 3 wrapped up in July,
Hmm.
in the US at least. I love this season. To me, it was more of a low key season. Like season 2 was my favorite, but like season 3 was more of a low key season. But it worked. It really focused on the character named Joanna
Hmm.
and like her past trauma coming to light and stuff. It was very character heavy. I really enjoyed it, and I'm pretty sure season 4 is happening. But like
Okay.
the way season 3 ended, like it was probably the most wholesome finale like I've ever seen. So like I'd be okay if it ended there,
It
but it
ended on
definitely
like
sets
a good
itself
note.
up to where we can get another season.
Okay.
I don't have much to say on this other than I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for season 4 next summer. Like Canadian
Oh,
television is it's beautiful.
That's
I
sweet.
really like these characters. Oh, I'm very drawn.
That's good.
Let's go. Come on. What did you watch, Duncan?
I watched. Well, we talked about this, so this will be a quick one. Hamilton.
He's taking that horse by the reins, making redcoats rudder with bloodstains. Lafayette. Yes, Hamilton. Thoughts on Hamilton? I know we have a whole podcast based on
Right.
it. Just
So
it's amazing. Look at my shirt. I'm wearing a Hamilton
You
shirt.
are wearing. Yeah, I know.
It's amazing. It makes the world go round. And
I thought it was fine. You know,
in some cases, people
fine.
watched it and it cured Rona.
I don't think that's true. I feel like you cannot make that claim.
We're gonna get fact checked by YouTube.
Yeah, it's okay.
There's gonna be a little disclaimer at the Bonds video. Watching Hamilton does not cure.
You know what? I'm happy it exists for the people that have been dying to see it. I think it's good that it's been so accessible.
It's shot really well, because my biggest thing was I was like, you're not gonna be able to capture the experience of the stage, and it doesn't. Like
the cinematography is really good though.
But it came pretty close.
Yeah, that's really it. That's all. It's fine.
Hamilton.
Watch it if you like it.
He took that horse by the reins and made those red coats rudder with blood.
Yep.
So I talked about a movie I had watched. I haven't finished the trilogy yet. I still have to watch the last one, the Holy Trilogy. Oh my gosh, what's happening? My phone is freaking out. I almost just deleted the list. But I watched a movie from my childhood. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules.
Man.
This movie, no, like I said, the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie growing up was my favorite. Having gained some life experience and now being an adult and, ruling the world. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick 2. Roderick 2.
Roderick 2.
Roderick Rules is the definitive Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie, in my opinion.
Wow.
This movie, it's not a kid's movie. Like, this movie is like
Diary of a Wimpy Kid, isn't it?
Kids will watch it, but they won't get it till they're adult. So, like, I don't know. I feel like I related to this movie because it focuses on the sibling experience, we'll call it. And like, I didn't become tight with my sister till like high school.
Yeah.
And like then we became super close and stuff. And I feel like this movie, there's the scene. Okay, I'm gonna spoil it because it's been out for a couple of years. Right. So like the scene where the mom and dad find out about, you've seen the movie, right?
A long time ago, but yeah.
Where they find out about the party and then they tell Roderick he can't be in the talent show and Greg feels guilty and he goes up and goes, I'm sorry. And like Roderick is kind of known to have like this like personality where he'll like yell in the movie and he just looks at him and goes, and oh god, dude, I actually got chills. I actually like almost teared up a little bit when this, like I almost cried during Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules, and I'm not ashamed to admit it because it was so good.
Yeah.
Roderick turns to him and just looks at him and says, you'll always be my brother, but you'll never be my friend. And that broke, like, dude, the delivery on it was so good. Like, I don't even think that's the line. It was something better than that because it broke my heart. And I was like, crap, I'm invested. Like, this is better than most, like, Oscar movies. Diary of a Wimpy Kid 2, Roderick Rules, should have been nominated for an Oscar.
I can agree with that.
Holy crap!
Hearing you talk about
Diary of a Wimpy Kid retrospective, like, can we do like this? I know Netflix has like a thing where you can do like a group watch party. Can we do that with all 4 Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies?
I'm down.
A whole, like 5-hour podcast about it.
I think we have to. Yeah.
This movie hit me on such an emotional level, like, oh my god. And then like the character of Holly Hills and stuff, and like him trying to like get the lady, like, yeah, I was like, get it, Greg. Like it was like relatable for like that middle school timeline where like you like that girl but you can't because she's popular and you're
oh man, yeah.
And like
just not like the popular girl.
They like this movie, the kid that plays Roderick, give that man an Oscar.
He killed it.
Hashtag
This
my
is
Roderick. That's
this is
what I'll say.
embarrassing. I was on TikTok the other day and I found
Hmm.
him. He's on TikTok now.
He is. Can you
Yeah.
send it to me? Can you
I'll
follow
try to
him?
I'll try to find him again. I did not, but it was
Does he
so
make
weird.
Dive Olympic kid centered content?
No, I don't think he's allowed to.
Okay.
But yeah, I go on TikTok whenever I'm very very bored, and I was not expecting Roderick Heffley to show up on
Now
my
that
For You page.
the franchise is owned by Disney, can we officially make Roderick Heffley a Disney princess?
I thought you were gonna say, "Can we make him an Avenger?"
He would. He'd kill it.
Yeah,
Oh, what can Captain America do that Roderick Heffley can't? That's my question. Luke
I'm gonna quote you
Skywalker,
on that.
CG him out and put a Roderick Heffley in.
Oh my god, you should tweet that. That's really funny. Whew. All right.
Man, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm just getting started. This movie, like the scene where they're bonding at the mall and they're putting fake throw up on people's car, it's so cute. It's so wholesome. Like this movie nailed the sibling experience of like your best friend that you get super pissed off at and say you'll never talk to again, but
Yeah.
then like your pals the next day. I love it. That's it. I'm done now.
Now you're
That's
okay.
Diary of a Kid Roderick rules, and boy does he
Roderick
rule.
Rule. Hearing you talk about those movies, like I definitely have to rewatch them now.
Dude, they're on Disney Plus in full HD. I gotta watch Dog Days. I'm gonna fit it in by the end of this
Pretty
month.
tempting. I'll probably watch them when I'm back in Chicago because I don't think my family would be that interested. But
Dude, no, honest to God, you do your Friday movie nights, they'll be like, what the hell is wrong with this kid for picking it? But like once you actually start watching the movie, I'm sure they'll love it.
I don't know, man. My family is if they find one little thing wrong with your movie, you're never
Dude,
recovering.
they're shot on film. They're shot on film.
I'm telling you, my family will not appreciate
it's
that.
artistry. It is artistry.
I watched Jupiter Ascending.
We just talked about the Bible level story that is Diary of a Kid Roderick Rules. And now you want to drag us down to Jupe Ascending.
I'll admit, when you compare it to Roderick Rules, this movie might not be as high caliber.
They call her Jupe in this movie.
They do. I will say, I did not watch this movie when it came out. I heard all the shit. I expected it to be trash, god awful garbage. I watched it. It was not that bad.
Oh God! So every year, my buddy, his aunt owns a log cabin,
Okay.
like a huge log cabin bed and breakfast, and they like rent it out. They have multiple rooms and stuff. Every year for his birthday, his aunt lets him have it for the weekend.
Holy
So
shit.
like we'll go there and we just
Yeah.
have a good like it's just like we're not doing anything nuts. We're like we have a freaking air hockey contest.
I know you be smoking and
We have
drinking and
no
gambling.
we have an air hockey contest. They just sold the place, so we can't do it anymore, which stinks.
Aw.
But one year we were like, yo, what should we watch? They had like HBO, and at the time Jupe Ascending was on there, so we were like, let's watch it. And it became a meme in our friendship. So one year on Black Friday, I saw they had Jupe Ascending for $1. So I bought 5 copies for each friend and gave it to them for Christmas.
Oh, that's really cute. I think the only real problem I have with this movie is that it tries to do too many concepts at once.
This movie's bad.
I don't think it's bad.
There's literally a scene where Mila Kunis is talking to Channing Tatum, and she's like,
Yeah.
so you're half dog? He's like, yeah, I'm half dog. And she turns to him and like really like inappropriately with a lot of suggestion goes, I like dogs. And I'm like, whoa!
I think that just was speaking to the uncomfortable nature of the characters, right? She'd been through a lot.
God. I remember there's a scene where they're like, she can control bees, and then they never mention it again.
Well, I mean, there's no bees in space, so.
I remember Eddie Redmayne There's like a scene where he's like, I create life, and he goes, then I destroy it. And I'm like, this dude is on.
Okay, but okay, so for anyone who does not know, the concept is that Earth is property to like this giant space family, but when the mother dies, she relinquished like the right to her reincarnation. It's been a while, but
I
Mila
don't remember this at all. I have no idea what you're talking
Mila
about.
Mila Kunis is the
I just remember she
rightful
going, I like dogs.
Mila Kunis is the rightful owner of Earth, and this space family is like trying to kill her so they can get the rights. Um, and I think that's a really interesting idea. The idea that Earth is a commodity and it's like it's home to us, but to these people, it's an investment. And like, I think that's cool. Um, the one concept I really could not get behind was the animal human hybrids. Sean Bean
Hmm.
plays like a bee.
Who?
Sean Bean.
I did not know that.
He plays like a half man, half bee genetic hybrid, where like he's a man, but he like anyway. And then Channing Tatum, like you mentioned, is a dog person. I like dogs. It was just a little jumbled.
It
But
was a little jumbled, is very polite.
I don't think it's as bad as the media has condemned it to be.
The media.
The mainstream
The
media.
media.
And you
Um,
know what? I think if you go into this movie with low expectations, you might enjoy it.
make sure they're very low.
All right, well, not too low.
Ah,
I will defend Jupiter Ascending.
um, I watched. I don't know if you're done, but I'm going to make you be done because I can't. Um, I watched a Hulu original movie starring Andy Samberg and Christine Milioti called
Oh,
Palm
Palm
Springs.
Springs. Yeah.
This movie was so cute. Like I love this movie. So I'm not a big fan of the whole rom-com, but it was cute. Tyler Hoechlin is in it, who's CW's future Superman. Raise the roof.
Oh.
Um, so was a Riverdale Gale in it, but I don't care. Um, this movie deals with like a time loop situation,
Mm-hmm.
but it does it in such a creative way where it doesn't spend half the movie like explaining it. It
Okay.
kind of just happens, and like one of the characters has been stuck in the time loop for a couple years.
Oh.
So um they've kind of just like given up that they can get out, and they really form a cute bond of just trying to live each day together.
Oh.
um this movie is so like, I feel like me explaining it won't do it the justice it deserves, because I
Well,
recommend
I've
everybody
seen the
watch this.
trailer. I don't have Hulu, so I have not seen it.
Oh, get a free trial if you can and watch it, or like see if you can like
It looked really cute.
online. But like 123movies.com. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's it. How many more things do you have? Can I do one more?
I got 3 things left.
Oh shoot, go.
I rewatched The Boys.
Ooh.
My little brother had never seen it, and season 2 is coming out soon.
I'm
So
excited for season 2.
I got to admit, The Boys is like my favorite superhero media right now.
Oh wow.
Like, just because the concept of like, yes,
It's
superheroes
like a satire of itself.
exactly. It's like your big dream of there being superheroes is true and they're real
And then
and
they're all terrible
and they're
people.
all dicks. Like that's such a fun concept. And
I loved. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have a bad habit of cutting you
oh no
off.
no no, you have
No,
great
go go
ideas.
go.
I just love that it's like this group of people who are like, I hate superheroes. Let's see how many we can kill. It's
Yeah.
like it's such an interesting idea because they're like normal guys, and you'd think that like how can like normal guys take down like the Flash per se, and I just the first season has been out for a while. I've seen it 3 times.
Oh wow.
I legitimately can't get enough of it, and season 2 from all the promotional material I've seen just looks like it's just gonna be better,
Hmm.
and I think it's really fun. And if you're looking for like edgy new superhero content. I
This
think.
isn't one for the kids.
Oh my god, no. Some of the funniest reviews of this show are like families who sat down to watch it. And then in episode 1, when A Train runs through Huey's girlfriend
Yeah.
and she pops like a water balloon, apparently people didn't like that very much.
Yeah. Um, the thing I liked about this show is like I like how each character in the context of the show is marketed. Like I like how
Yes.
they're all marketed, and like you follow
So
this
smart for them to do.
you follow this girl like becoming part of like what is their version of the Justice League,
Yeah.
and like there's a scene in an office where she's talking like, well, I don't really agree with that, and they're like, well, we love that about you, but we think that it's my favorite scene from the whole show. And like they give her a costume that's similar to like what you would see a female wear in
It's like
like
very
a
revealing.
comic book, and she's
Yeah.
like, this isn't practical. Like it's so funny.
Such a great satire on like that culture and that world.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great.
I thought it's great. Well, I get this thing that's stuck in my out. Tell us what you're excited for about season 2.
You know what? Season 1 did such a great job of setting up these really like interesting, intricate characters. And I feel like season 2, they're like, all right, we don't have to waste any more time setting up.
They're playing in the sandbox.
Let's just throw the action figures together and see what happens.
I also watched a superhero show this month, but I'm talking about last because it was my favorite thing I watched this month. So next, I watched for the first time in 10 years a movie, and it's a movie I watched it, and I have not stopped thinking about it since I watched it, and I think it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Wow.
And that movie is Inception.
Inception.
This movie, like I said, I love heist movies.
Right.
And to me, this was so creative. And like, I remember watching as a kid and like not getting it at all. And like, I remember people saying it was confusing. I didn't think it was that confusing. It definitely cuts a lot, but it's not confusing. I thought honestly, like Dunkirk was more confusing than this one. But
yeah, that's fair, I think, actually.
I really enjoyed it. Like I was having a good time. The effects, like I'm really into like special effects and stuff. Like I just think it's so interesting how it's done and stuff. And like the fact that this movie is like mostly practical, like it's aged so well in the 10 years. Like I watched a Marvel movie that came out 3 years ago, and like it has not aged well. Like you can tell it's green screen. Any superhero movie, I don't mean to say Marvel, honestly, but this movie has aged like 10 years. Looks like it was made yesterday.
Absolutely, definitely.
I love it. It's phenomenal, and I hope time is kind to it. Which I think it has, man.
That's a really funny...
I think that Christopher Nolan boy has a bright career ahead of him.
Yeah.
Not enough people know his name.
Yeah, I feel like more people should know the name Christopher Nolan.
Christopher, I'll put my movie in theaters even if there's a global pandemic Nolan. Gotta love that man.
Christopher, no chairs on set Nolan. Anne Hathaway's gonna stand, damn it.
Anne Hathaway's gonna stand. I don't need them being distracted by chairs.
I found a weird lump on my leg. That feels like a tumor.
Oh no. Dude, don't frickin', oh my god. Is it
cancer reveal? That's a serious lump.
Dude, 2020 has been such a bad year that I swear to God, if anything
I
bad
might as well have
you,
a disease.
If anything bad happens to you, I'm just gonna charge the frickin' lawn of the White House.
Aw. Well, I'll include that in my will. All right, lump aside. I watched Bandersnatch, which
Why have I heard of that?
It is a Black Mirror choose your own adventure.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
I sat down with my friend and we just tried to make like the best decisions we could. This show, okay, so the concept of a choose your own adventure TV show is already like innovative. That's like super cool. It's not really done very often. Super cool. But you add that Black Mirror like twist to it, because what happens is the character...
I close my vent.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I don't want to get arthritis.
The character in the show starts to suspect that he's being controlled.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
It's really cool because like they'll give you the option of like scratch knee or scratch arm, and you'll click like scratch arm, and then he'll scratch his arm and then be like, I didn't want to do that. And like he'll start being, and the best part of Bandersnatch, I won't spoil it because it's choose your own adventure, but the best part is like you give him a command and he starts to do it and then he stops himself. And like he starts like fighting the commands you're giving him. It's so interesting because
That is interesting.
you feel like you're a part of it. Like you actually feel like you are the one commanding this kid. And it's like, it's just, I totally recommend it. If you want like a fucked up, like,
I might check it out.
thing, I think you should.
I watched. So over this quarantine, I've really gotten into the DC Universe streaming thing.
Yeah.
And my favorite show on there is Stargirl, which finished this month.
You have
So
talked a lot about Stargirl. Yeah.
When we do August, dude, what we watch in August, there's probably going to be a good 20 minutes dedicated to Stargirl.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I'm prepared for that.
But I actually watched season 1 of Doom Patrol.
Okay. Yeah.
First of all, I'll say of every superhero show I've ever watched, and I'm just saying this from like an objective standpoint. Because it's not my personal favorite superhero pilot is like Arrow, but like
sure.
From an objective standpoint, this is the best pilot for a superhero show.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The closest thing I can relate this show to is Guardians of the Galaxy, but even then it's its own thing because it's not really plot driven. It's more so just focusing on the characters and telling their stories. And like it's just about a bunch of flawed people, and like it's not them coming, like they don't come together to join this team and then go and kick ass.
Yeah.
Like what I liked about it is that like they're stuck to get, like they're literally thrusted into situations they don't want to be in. And like this show is hilarious. So Brendan Fraser from like The Mummy plays Robot Man. That dude is comedically genius. Like he's so good. This show is so out there, but it's so unique and not enough people watch it. If you get HBO Max, like if it's, I know we've been talking about this, you might have it. Maybe you've been paying for it and not using it. Shame on you. Just watch the first episode. It's weird. It is the weirdest show I've ever seen. Like
I have heard it's like very conceptual, very weird.
Like the first episode is pretty grounded, but then like they have to like definitely let the audience know like this is a weird show.
Isn't there a character who's a living street?
Yup, Danny the Street.
That might be enough to like make me check it out on its own. That's
like the first episode, the way like they have to let you know it's weird, so like it ends with this like donkey coming out and farting words, and like dude, it's weird, but it's such a good like character show. It's such a good character show.
Fine, if you recommend it, I'll check it out. Whatever.
Yeah, if you're paying for the Max, you might as well.
The Max.
The Max. Yeah, so Doom Patrol, really good show. I'd recommend it.
All right, the last thing on my list is Euphoria.
Is it on HBO?
It is an HBO exclusive.
Is that with Shake It Up?
Zendaya? Yeah.
Yeah.
Euphoria is very, very challenging to summarize and to think about. It is a very conceptual show. I will say, just right off the bat, the cinematography of this show is better than any director I've ever seen. Like,
dang. Like
you were talking about Christopher Nolan in Inception. Euphoria is very similar to Inception with its cinematography. Because
I saw I don't know if it was from the show, but it was very impressive, and Zendaya was in it, so I'm going to assume.
Sure.
I saw a scene where she was like on her bed and she sent a text message, and then she fell in the bed, and then like it changed to her in school, and I watched like the behind the scenes of how they did it. Is that the show?
That's Euphoria.
Dude, is it all like that a lot?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy. I need
Euphoria is about
HBO expensive.
Right. Man.
They should make it free for quarantine.
I think everything should have been free for quarantine, but yeah. Euphoria is about uh it's like it's interesting because it's about like American teenagers. But you know how Riverdale makes American teenage life seem so like
Grand,
not grand, like they're in
dramatic.
they're in gangs and shit.
Yeah.
This is Euphoria is it does the same thing without going over the top because it's about drugs and abusive relationships and your parents, and
Mhm.
each episode is centered around a different character, and they tackle very real situations that have been like embellished so it's more dramatic than it usually
Yeah.
is. But at the end of the day, it's just a very intimate story about these kids who are dealing with way more than kids should be dealing with.
Hmm.
And it does intensify at the end. A big thing happens. I just I
I have a question because I know HBO either does likes to do a lot of standalone. Is this like a one season thing, or is this gonna like go on?
there is going to be a season 2. I don't know how much longevity this series has.
Hmm.
Um it's kind of like, is she gonna quit drugs or not? Is she gonna like get out of this relationship or not? I don't know how many seasons you can push that. Um, but season 2, I think, is happening, and I don't know. I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'm excited for you.
Aw,
Was that all you had?
that's it. That's July for
Alrighty.
me.
How long? I feel like this was our longest podcast. Can you see how long we've been
I
recording?
will not be able to see till it ends.
I think this might be our longest one. But you know what? When you're talking about such godlike content as Avatar and Roderick Rules, that's how it's gonna be.
You know what?
Um,
Yeah,
this was fun. I'm happy we did this.
yeah. I'm happy we do
See
this in general.
see you guys in 5 months when we remember to record podcasts.
Thank you
Um,
for listening.
thank you for hanging in there. Please give us a like. We need it. Maybe it'll motivate us. Maybe
Maybe,
it's the
maybe not.
push they needed.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Thanks. Thank you.
Bye.
I love
Bye.
you like Mila Kunis likes dogs.
Oh my God.